Hello viewers, I'm Red2006 and I'm very pleased to have you join me on the latest leg of our scenic tour through the Johto region in Pokemon Gold version. As a quick recap on our last day's adventuring, we met Johto's starter Pokemon and I chose Cyndaquil to accompany me on the adventure. We made our way to Mr. Pokemon's and met Professor Oak, and I beat up a red-headed kid and took his money, just like the schoolyard. We're rushing back to Professor Elm's laboratory now. Time to get going on our scenic tour, but it's a bit of a rush. We're heading back to Professor Elm's lab. You can jump off the ledges on Route 29 to have an easier run. When you get cut, sneak through there. Quick maneuver around here, and we have made it back. Kind of takes away from the beauty when you have to rush. And talk to the policeman. I heard a Pokemon had been stolen here. I was just getting some information from Professor Elm. Apparently, it was a young male with long red hair. What? You battled a trainer like that? Did you happen to get his name? We are going to name him 3 question marks because that's what he said his name was. The game lets you get away with everything. Okay, so 3 question marks was his name. Thanks for helping my investigation. Talk to the shaken up Professor Elm. Wedge, this is terrible. Oh yes, what was Mr. Pokemon's big discovery? We have given him an egg. This? But is it a Pokemon egg? No, Professor Elm, no. It's an egg from the supermarket that I just dolled up. If it is a great discovery. What? Professor Oak gave you a Pokedex? That's really not special. He gives them to all sorts of kids, really. Which, is that true? That's incredible. He's superb at seeing the potential of people as trainers. Wow, Wedge, you may have what it takes to become the champion. Well, if you think. You seem to be getting on great with Pokemon too. You should take the Pokemon Gym Challenge. The closest gym would be the one in Violet City. Wedge, the road to the championship will be a long one. Before you leave, make sure that you talk to your mum. Get out and the assistant will give you more things. We have Pokeballs. Now, I had a bit of a bad run when it came to catching Pokemon in my practice recordings. They just didn't want to cooperate. Even a Caterpie was giving me trouble, and this was right after I'd made rather hubristic comments that I didn't need the tutorial. We'll get to that though. Talk to Mum. And she will offer to save money for us. Handy to have a backup. We'll have to come home and talk to her. But for now, adventure calls. Back onto Route 29, ready to go. And this guy will come up and talk to us. We can actually refuse the Pokemon catching tutorial. This is something I really, really value about this game. Annoyingly, you had to sit through it in the remakes, which was a little bit bothersome because if I'm going to be honest, I really don't like the fact that the series tends to force tutorials on you and sort of hold your hand in that sense. Much as I did like a lot of the things Sun and Moon did, they came across like forced tutorial the game sometimes. And I'm going to interrupt my ranting so that we can start today's Pokemon Spotlight. In terms of design, Sentret is a very interesting Pokemon. Its behaviour is akin to meerkats, standing up on its tail and scouting for danger, but its appearance suggests flying squirrels or sugar gliders, with hints of Tanuki. It's a very different example of an early game Pokemon, being found only on Route 29 and Route 1 in Gold and Silver, while it could also be found on Route 30 in Crystal. It's not particularly strong in all fairness, but it has a really nice design and looks pretty cute. Not to mention it evolves quite early, which can give you a pretty solid early game Pokemon if you put the effort into it. It will evolve into Furret at level 15. And speaking of Furret, I could gush about this cute fellow all day. With its friendly smile, long fluffy body, and sleek speed, Farret stands out as one of my favourite Pokemon. It's rare for me to go on about how cute a Pokemon is, so Farret's obviously doing something right. I don't care if it's not too great in battle, but I do think it has something going for it. Its base HP jumps way up, as does its speed. In fact, base 85 HP, up from Sentret's base 35, would be fairly impressive were it not for Farret's poor defensive stats. With its reasonable base 90 speed jumping up from Sentret's base 20, I think it has some good building blocks for a little bit of tweaking, say a Mega Evolution. Even if I don't like that mechanic much, I think Farret would benefit from it. It may not win big fights, but as a friend, Farret won't fail to put a smile on your face. I am very proud of my shiny Farret, for good reason. Alright, with that cheery interlude over, back to what I was saying. I do appreciate having tutorials in games for newer players, because you've got to start somewhere, and not everybody is going to know all the mechanics and things like that. But if you've been playing for a long time, I think there should at least be an option to say, I know what I'm doing. And that's the problem. The newer Pokemon games haven't done that for you. It's kind of annoying sort of sitting through the tutorials when you've been playing for 20 years, you know what you're doing, and you just want to get to a game that's a decent challenge. I don't mind things like the experience share and all those other things, because they're options. You can switch them off. But I'm going to stop rambling for now, and I will read Sentret's Pokédex entry. Sentret, the Scout Pokemon. A very cautious Pokemon, it raises itself up using its tail to get a better view of its surroundings. I'm going to be using it for the early game. Let's see, I'm going to stick with the nickname I gave Sentret in practice recordings. Dash. It was meant to tie in to Farret's speed, but I suppose it also continues the Star Wars theme and references Dash, Rendar and Shadows of the Empire, which interestingly was the very first video game I ever had, on the Nintendo 64. Going back quite some way. We do need to catch Pidgey, I've seen plenty of these. And we should be right for this one, fingers crossed. Okay. This is looking eerily reminiscent of my practice run. You know what, I'm cutting my losses on this one. I'll find a slightly stronger one and hit it with Leah. I'll also pop up to Route 46 and see if I can find Geodude. Okay. Let's see if this works. Can't lose too much defense. Ah, right in the good zone. And 1, 2, 3. There we go. Probably better heal the team and grab a few more Pokeballs. Pidgey, the tiny bird Pokemon. It usually hides in tall grass. Because it dislikes fighting, it protects itself by kicking up sand. I'm not going to be using Pidgey this time. It is a very good Pokemon, and you will see some information on it later on, but I actually do prefer Spearow and Fearow when it comes to flying types. That little bit of extra power helps, and Fearow has a bit of versatility since, well, it's more versatile in later generations, I feel, since even with its Mega Evolution, you sort of know what Pidgeot's going to be doing. It's very dependable, but in certain circles kind of predictable. Grab a few of those, and off we go. Pokemon's didn't get their own theme until Generation 3. Couldn't decide which topic to go on. Do I go on the Pokemons, which have since been integrated into Pokemon Centers, or do I keep going with Spearow and Fearow? I do appreciate the fact Fearow learns Drill Run, which plays on its Japanese name Onidrill, and I just think it has a few more tricks to it, but it is more fragile. Pidgeot can tank a few more blows. Not too many, but... oh well, here's Rattata. I think it's a bit more common on Route 46. As you saw, I didn't run into one on Route 29, and that is admittedly a rare occurrence. They're everywhere in Kanto. And to be honest, in the practice recordings, I didn't run into a Rattata full stop until I'd reached Route 32. Battled some, but not a wild encounter. Rattata, the rat Pokemon. It eats anything. Wherever food is available, it will settle down and produce offspring continuously. Now, you might be a bit surprised to note its Pokédex classification. It's the rat Pokemon in the first 2 generations. Ah, and here's Geodude. It's a male one. As I said, I'm going to be catching a female one. Now, Rattata was the rat Pokemon in the first 2 generations. It has become the mouse Pokemon since. It does look a little bit more like a mouse, I think. Very stylized. But it was actually changed for some reason. I'm not sure why. Admittedly, Sandshrews classification is also the mouse Pokemon, but it and Sandslash are more accurately based on pangolins. Another rare creature. Look it up sometime. You'd actually be surprised at how many good ideas Game Freak really does have. They draw on some very rare species. Okay, didn't know you could get Spearow this early. It's a while since I came onto Route 46. There's a real treasure trove. I didn't actually come here in my practice recording. But anyway, you can choose between Pidgey and Spearow fairly early. Spearow, the tiny bird Pokemon. It flaps its short wings to flush out insects from tall grass. It then plucks them with its stubby beak. Don't think I'll be using it this time, but it is worthwhile. Let's just cut to when I find what I'm looking for. Here we go. You will find out why I've specifically sought out the female one. Bit of a teaser for now. Lower its defense a little. I'm not sure if it has defense curl yet. There we are. That should do. As I've mentioned, they're a very good friend for Chikorita. Geodude covers all of Chikorita's weaknesses. Ground type covers poison, also covers fire. Rock types cover bug types, flying types, ice types, and fire types. And we've caught Geodude, who will be coming along with us. Geodude, the rock Pokemon. Most people may not notice, but a closer look should reveal that there are many Geodude around. I will be nicknaming Geodude, and again using the nickname from the practice recordings. I couldn't think of a really fancy type of rock, so I'm just going with a gemstone. Happens to be the first of the GBA games I got too. So we've gathered a pretty good little team. I was going to discuss the team a little bit more, but unfortunately a Pidgey had to interrupt. I will do some training off screen. I will be using Dash and Ruby. I'll pick up some new team members as we go along the way. But for now, we are ready to head up Route 30, and Torture will take care of everyone there. Only a small amount of opponents. Make our way through. Come back to this pond and the ponds around this area if you want to find Poliwag later on. You can also fish for Magikarp. I have to remember to get the old rod this time. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, if you've played Heart Gold Soul Silver, there he is in the grass. One of the most memorable characters, the man with the top percentage Rattata, Youngster Joey himself. The very definition of suicidal overconfidence. His Rattata is no match for Torture. Or perhaps should I say it will eventually break under Torture. This playthrough is probably going to be investigated by the Geneva Convention by the end of it. And there we are, his so-called top percentage Rattata is down. Now, his phone number is optional. It doesn't matter who you talk to, they will be fairly boring if I'm going to be honest, and you can get rematches relatively early in this game. In the remakes, they only start happening after you've beaten the radio tower. But let's press on. Two Pokemon to handle this time, but shouldn't be much trouble. Down they go. His Rattata is the same level as Joey's. Don't exactly know what makes them so special. This would admittedly be a bit easy if I had Ember, but gotta wait a little. That will come in due time, don't you worry. Oh, so close. I will see if I can find a Caterpie along the way. There's one more opponent to go. Ah, good, just what I was looking for. Now this one had better cooperate. Caterpie was a pain in the backside. The practice recording kinda made me look a bit stupid. Probably should have used Leer again if I'm going to be honest. But, trust my luck. Much better. Much better. Caterpie, the worm Pokemon. For protection, it releases a horrible stench from the antenna on its head to drive away enemies. I might do a little bit of level grinding and get Caterpie to evolve as well as training the others, but that can wait. One more opponent, and it's a bug catcher. We've battled basically all the early game trainers. Just Caterpie. It can pay to keep an antidote on hand if you're playing Silver version, because you're going to run into Weedle and it might poison you. Looks like I'll be just shy of taking it out in 2. The level up I get might help. Still faster than it. Then again, I suppose there is a major level difference. And there we are, we've hit level 10. Let's see how we do. Yep, this will be a bit easier. And we have won. On we go. We are pretty much done with Route 30. I think that's an apricorn up there. Not 100% sure, but I'm not going back for it. I sort of forgot. Anyway, picturesque Route 30 with its lovely trees gives way to Route 31, which has a small connection to the mountains, eventually leading to Blackthorn City. A small lake is nearby, and again, a lovely forested area where you might find a couple of new Pokemon along the way. If you head into this cave, it will be pitch black. It is appropriately named Dark Cave. Obviously they weren't very imaginative. There is nothing to see there for now. We'll wrap things up here, I think. It's a nice location, very pleasant spot to take a rest and enjoy ourselves. Thank you very much for joining me. I hope you learned a little bit about some of the Pokemon here, and I will see you in the next installment of our scenic tour through the Johto region.